When I first moved into Crestwood Heights, I thought I was buying into peace, order, and a nice neighborhood. What I didn't expect was that the Homeowners Association, HOA, would turn out to be the real horror story. Their rules were endless. Paint colors, mailbox heights, landscaping choices, and even the type of holiday lights allowed. But I never imagined they'd try to control my electricity bill. It all started last summer when the HOA announced a mandatory infrastructure fee to cover some supposed upgrades to street lighting and community utilities. The notice was buried in the monthly newsletter, and I admit I didn't read it carefully. When my electric bill came, I nearly dropped it. $5,000. Not $500. $5,000 for a single month. My jaw hit the counter. I called the HOA office immediately. Karen, the same HOA tyrant from the last neighborhood I lived in, answered the phone. Her tone was icy, as if she enjoyed my panic. "That's the new community enhancement fee. Everyone pays it," she said smugly. I asked for an itemized breakdown. She told me there was none and no exceptions. $5,000? I shouted. "This is ridiculous." Her response was a calm, cold laugh. "Ridiculous or not, it's the rules. Pay up or face late fees, penalties, and potential liens." I spent the next week arguing with their office, sending emails, making calls, and even threatening legal action. Nothing worked. Every message from the HOA made it clear. Their word was law. And their law? That I owed $5,000 immediately. Frustration turned into anger. And anger, in my case, tends to inspire creative solutions. One evening, while reviewing my options, I noticed something crucial. The HOA's office and all their shared facilities were on the same electrical grid I paid for. The enhanced community utilities? That meant the HOA itself relied on my electricity to function. It was bold, arrogant, and, most importantly, vulnerable. I waited until midnight, when the neighborhood was asleep and the office lights still glowed from overtime. Quietly, I accessed the circuit breakers controlling the HOA's building and the community amenities. A few flips, a gentle click, and the entire HOA office, and their fancy security system, went dark. Within minutes, chaos erupted. I watched from my window as car alarms blared, flashlights waved, and people ran around screaming. Karen's shriek cut through the night like a banshee. "What's happening? Why is everything off?" I couldn't resist a grin. It was poetic justice. The same people who had tried to manipulate, threaten, and bully me were now completely powerless, literally. Their computers, security cameras, and lights all gone. The power outage lasted precisely 1 hour. I made sure not to touch any residential homes, only the HOA's shared facilities. When power finally returned, Karen stormed over to my house the next morning, her heels clacking like thunder on the pavement. She was furious, waving her arms, and muttering about criminal charges and harassment. I calmly handed her a printed bill comparison. My legal electricity usage, the fees they had added, and the documented evidence that their own building had drawn power from the same system. "You caused the outage?" she demanded. "I restored the balance," I replied evenly. "Your office was using the electricity I already paid for. Consider it a correction." The HOA board called an emergency meeting, and neighbors whispered in the background. Many were secretly thrilled, others horrified. But the board had no real grounds to punish me. The outage was minor, reversible, and affected only their property. Karen fumed, but she had no leverage. Eventually, the HOA had to retract the $5,000 fee, issue apologies, and revise their billing system. I paid only the normal electricity charges, with a note, "For legal electricity only." The neighborhood learned a lesson. Sometimes, power, literal or metaphorical, belongs to those who can enforce it cleverly. And me? I never underestimated an HOA again. I also kept a backup plan, a well-hidden switch labeled "in case of HOA emergency," just in case Karen or her successors thought they could take me for granted again.